Oh, that feels so good. That feels so good. What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. It feels like so long since we've had a positive one. We had two series in a row where we've lost the series, but now after we go out, beat the Diamondbacks, we're happy. We're smiling. We're excited. We have great things to talk about. Juan Soto, big game in Game 3, Game 1. On top of the Knicks coming back and beating the Celtics, we have the Mets, Pete Lindor home runs. It was scary, but it was good. Game 2. We'll talk about that one as well. I mean, we can't be just all sunshine and rainbows on this episode of the Mets'd podcast. There's still some things that we got to talk about here, but overall, great series, big wins against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are a team we are going to be competing with for a playoff spot, whether you want to believe it or not. It was so big to win this series out in the desert. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. Make sure you are following us on all our social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're dropping more content. You saw a little Zach Scott video out there. We got our intern Nick working on a clip for us this after this episode too. Can't wait to see what it looks like, and you guys will see that over on those social medias at Mets'd. Subscribe to the Mets'd podcast YouTube channel. Remember, members, $2.99 a month. You will get every episode early before it goes live on YouTube. So if you want to be a part of that, we do appreciate it. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download and subscribe. We're going to read out some reviews at the end of this episode. We haven't done it in a minute. We're going to read out some reviews. Easy way for you guys to get a shout out. 5 stars, review us, and we'll give you that. All right, James, let's talk about this series, man. What a different vibe it felt like winning that game against the Diamondbacks with an off day the next day. Losing that one would have been really bad. It would have felt terrible, but getting that win to end the road series, to go back home against the Cubs in a big series, it felt really good.
Totally. And like what you said was right about not having a positive episode in a while. We haven't won a series in 2 weeks. The last series the Mets won was the sweep against the Phillies. That was 2 full weeks ago on a Thursday. So it's nice the fact that we have this. Nice the fact that finally we've been singing it for a month now. We're finally done with the 26-game and 27-day stretch. That includes 16 road games. At the end of all of that, the Mets are 16-10 at the end of that stretch, which is amazing. They were in multiple different time zones over this thing. It started out west and ended out west, which is just amazing how Major League Baseball schedules this. And now we start the rest of a month of May where we have an off day every single Thursday, and we're in the Eastern time zone for the rest of the month. We're in the Eastern time zone all the way until June. So it was going to be a nice way for the Mets to end an incredible April. I'm still calling it April, even though I know it's May 7th, but sure. The fact that we were still in this stretch, to me, was like all kind of put together. Like there wasn't really that exhale yet until you got to this game exactly, and you end it on a high note. Also, some added importance with this final game of the series against the Diamondbacks, because like you said before, Mark, we're competing with this team for a playoff spot. Division's always the number one objective, but you always have to be prepared for every outcome. And if you were to lose this game against the Diamondbacks without playing them anymore the rest of the season, you were to have guaranteed yourself you would have lost the season series, and that means you would have guaranteed the Diamondbacks have the tiebreaker over you if there were to be a tie in the last day of the season, like we had last year. So it's very nice to have this in hand now where the tiebreakers could still be up in the air and you're not guaranteed yourself a losing record against a team like this.
Yeah, and it was just so nice, too, that the way that they won that game with Soto, the 2 home run day, it was just easy. The pitching was great. Again, Kodai Senga, man. This dude is just pitching so well. And is it crazy to say that I think he could even be better right now? Obviously, like ERA-wise, not necessarily, but I feel like even the strikeouts, like we've seen him when he was locked in at the end of 2022, like in that, or not 2022, 2023, when he was locked in towards the end of the season and really started to make like that Cy Young push. I'm just going to do air quotes around there because we know he wasn't going to win it, but that's when he was just getting the swing and misses at crazy rates. Like he has been so incredibly valuable to this team. We talk all the time that this team still needs an ace, but having Kodai right now leading the way in this rotation when you have a guy like Manaea who's supposed to help out towards the front end has been so massive.
Yeah, I'll even objectively say, like, first of all, his ERA is a total mirage. Like, Kodai Senga has a significantly higher whip than his ERA after this game on Wednesday, which is kind of inconceivable. But I don't even think he's pitching close to a ceiling. I think the coolest thing about Senga continues to be just how many adjustments he's able to make inside of these games. Like the fact that the forkball has been more of a primary pitch for him for most of the season. It was again today until he got started throwing more fastballs in late innings. We've talked a little bit about how the cutter has been gone from Kodai this season, how that was something that we hoped to come back, his comfortability with it. This game, it came back in a big way, his second most thrown pitch against left-handed batters. Like, he's someone that's not even pitching close to their ceiling. I mean, he walked the leadoff batter the first 3 innings of this game, and somehow every single time got out of jam. So a lot of help from his defense. Some great plays by Luis Torrens, a great double play turn by Acuna and Lindor. I think that was the 3rd inning. Specifically got him out of that one. But from there, once he kind of he was able to like take the good luck, take it in stride, and then really cruise the rest of the game. If he didn't have all those walks in the first 3 innings, he's easily going 7 innings in this game. I even thought they were possibly going to push him for that 7th inning today with 89 pitches. But it's just even when he's struggling, he always has an answer. He always has a wrinkle. He always has a tool to get out of it. Like just he's like such a funny throwback pitcher in the sense that there's always an adjustment he can make in the middle of games. There's not that many pitchers I feel like that in the league right now, and he's definitely one of them.
It was also awesome, too. I think maybe it was Alec Thomas who split the gap, and when they threw Eugenio Suarez out at the plate on that relay throw by Francisco Lindor, like that was just such good clean, well-executed baseball. That's the kind of stuff that we expect from this New York Mets team. Timely hitting, power hitting, getting on base, playing good defense. That's what winning teams do, and they did it in this game. Like everything was just so well played in this one. Pete even made a phenomenal play diving down the line at first base. Kodai forgot to cover, but that was an unbelievable play by Pete, who I'm going to say his defense feels like it's been a lot better this year.
It's a lot better, literally exactly besides lobbing the ball underhand, 2 pitches coming to first base. So maybe Kodai was like, I don't even want to deal with that again, because there was another one, I think the inning before, where Kodai got there fast. Pete was like, I'm just taking it myself. That's fine. But I think watching that play, the play you're talking about, the bullet down the line, I think Kodai was just fully thought in his head it was down the line. I think he was shocked that Pete got it.
Yeah, no, it seemed like it was one of those where he was like, oh shit, you made that play? Like, I'm not. And also, Corbin Carroll's running, like, probably would have been close anyway, but still, like, everything felt very, very sharp from this team today, defensively, offensively, the at-bats. It was really nice to see, especially in a game where Luis Torrens hitting 5th, you never feel particularly great with the offensive lineup when you have your backup catcher hitting 5th in there, but they got the job done, and he had a nice double, too. Like, just a great overall team win.
I was looking at this the other day. Torrens is one of the leaders in baseball this year in barrels that have turned into outs. He's in the top 10 in that stat. So he's someone who's even actually as well as he's hit this season, as well as
he doesn't play every day.
And, well, he was for a while, but I think right now, as of today, I know for sure that he pulled ahead now. He's caught more runners stealing against him than stolen bases have been successful against him. One of the only catchers in the league who actually has that, the most innings of any catcher who has done that. And something else that was cool about this game, like I know a lot of people have been very critical of Juan Soto, especially runners in scoring position. There was a stretch in the middle innings of this game where like Senga and Kelly both really settled in. Every single inning was 1, 2, 3, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it did take Soto, his 3rd time around against Kelly, to break the tie and to kind of let this game get a little bit easier, let the breath be taken. That was when the Mets kind of went like up to shoot after that. It was kind of like the speed boost in Mario Kart, where like Soto hit the home run, everyone could take an exhale, because I think this team was, I don't want to say they were tired, but again, like what they just went through scheduling wise was insane. The fact that they did I'm just keep saying it, 26 games, 27 days, 16 of them being on the road. So when a guy like that was one of the premier players in baseball, one of the best players in baseball, can kind of pick you up a little bit, and then you let the floodgates open, like that's exactly what you kind of envision days like this when you give Juan Soto the contract we gave him.
Yeah, we got some good stats on Juan Soto today because, of course, multi-home run game.
You got some good stats. This was marquee stats.
I got a good one. Sarah Lang's also got one because she's the goat of getting stats, of course. Yeah. Shout out Sarah Lang's. She tweeted out about Juan Soto, multi-homer games. That was his 25th multi-homer game before turning 27. He is the second most multi-homer games before turning 27, only behind Jimmy Fox. And then I went and I was like, man, that's so many home runs. Juan Soto's hit 208 in his career. He's hit 51 of them in multi-home run games, which is kind of a fascinating stat. That's 24.8% of his home runs have been hit in the same game. I know that's not like technically the right way to say it in English, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. 51 of them have come in the same game where he hits a previous home run as well. That is way higher than Barry Bonds. That is way higher than Babe Ruth. That's higher than Alex Rodriguez. That's got to be the highest percentage of career home runs hit in a multi-home run game. That's kind of nuts. Like if you're ever a betting man, if you're betting Juan Soto to hit a home run, you might as well get the value and bet for 2.
I'll also say this. You brought up Jimmy Fox. Anytime anyone brings up Jimmy Fox, I just want to mention that he's one of the most underrated right-handed hitters in the history of baseball. The fact that I know it was before integration, hard to count all those stats, but him having a 58 home run season in 1932, not making the All-Star team. That might have been before the All-Star game existed. Yeah, that's before the All-Star game existed. But just I got to mention, whenever Jimmy Fox mentions, and because people right now are talking about Aaron Judge having the greatest 3-season stretch for a right-hand hitter in baseball. I mean, again, they're not far off, but Jimmy Fox, 32, 33, 34, 58, 48, 44 homers, 364, 356, 334 batting average, 1,200 OPS, 1,100 OPS, 1,100 OPS. Just got to mention it. One of the greatest right-hand hitters of all time that does not get the flowers he deserves. Back to the Mets.
Juan Soto taking it opposite field too. And that
Yes.
home run that he hit to right center where he put it on the upper deck in center field. I don't think you see
Tough place to
very
get one out.
many upper deck home runs. Obviously in Arizona you have to hit it that high because of how the wall is shaped with the yellow line. But to see an upper deck home run to center field is not something you kind of ever see. Most stadiums don't have upper decks in center field. So that was pretty insane to watch. It was like, oh my God, he hit that. I think it was 110.9. That ball was smoked.
Also amazing with Soto, like you could feel it in the game Tuesday night where he's clearly understanding when his mechanics are off in the box. And maybe this is why he continues to always hits 2 homer games, because he's the kind of guy where the mechanics can be so fine-tuned. He knows exactly when they're working and when they're not working. So you saw Keith mentioned it too, the fact that he very clearly like pulled his shoulder off a ball on the outside and he couldn't, and he tried to pull it and he wound up hitting a foul ball weakly. And you see him like kind of take those little shoulder half hacks walking out of the box and back into it. Because the pitch that he hit the first home run on was basically the exact same pitch. A foul ball like on the outer third. Not exactly high, not exactly low, but on the outer third. And the day before he tries to pull it, the shoulder flies open. That day he stays on it and hits the bank straight away center field home run, which is such a grown man home run to get out to that spot. Not many guys do that in center field in Arizona. We saw Eugenio Suarez almost do that on Monday night. Something that happily did not go out. But it's just when it's on, when the mechanics are working, and it's been such a trying effort for him to actually find them this season. There's been some games where he clearly has it, specifically these 2 against the Diamondbacks, some where he clearly doesn't. It's so close. And just the fact that we've had, in like the most dramatic air quotes possible, bad Juan Soto for the first 6 weeks of this season, and it's a 30 homer pace with an 865 OPS. It's just like, imagine when good Juan Soto finally walks through the door and everything this can become.
Yeah, so Sarah Langs also tweeted out Juan Soto's numbers over the last 19 games. He's hitting 300 with a 407 on base, 543 slugging, which is a 950 OPS. That is very much more of the Juan Soto. And again, you could say he's still not at that peak yet. And in his last 19 games, a 950 OPS. And if you even want to break it down over games, you look on MLB.com, they'll give you the live update. Over his last 15 games, he has an OPS at like 970 or 980 something. Like, it's unbelievable how well this guy's been playing. And I think most people, including a lot of Mets fans, probably people even listening to this, I think ourselves included, he's still not even there being locked in just yet. But his on-base percentage, like, he's so good. I love Juan Soto.
No, exactly. Again, we keep saying this, like, the biggest air quotes possible. Like, bad Juan Soto, it's almost a 400 on-base percentage.
It's crazy.
That's when he's bad. Like, when he's good, it's going to be, like, stupid how this thing winds up. Another big part of this game, pretty big part of the series, it's just we're getting to a point where we can't really take Luis Angel Acuna out of the lineup ever. It's just he's too good. He does too many things well. Again, that double play he started, continuously making great plays at second base. The base hit that was the 7th inning, right after the Juan Soto home run. That was like the first insurance run that we got, that we wound up really starting to open the floodgates on Merrill Kelly after that. Again, stole the base after and then score the run. It's just the amount of good things that he can do in any given day on a baseball diamond. It's too overwhelmingly important to ever take him out of the lineup. But I do think that Carlos Mendoza showed his hand a little bit and how this second base battle is changing, because in this game against a right-handed pitcher, Luis Angel Acuna hit 7th and Jeff McNeil hit 8th. Possibly a little foreshadowing to showing the inherent value of these two players. I don't think that this isn't me saying anything bad about Jeff McNeil. I know he left the game, but I think they're calling a leg cramp. So I do still hope Jeff is okay, because this team is better when Jeff McNeil's active, healthy, and playing well. But I do think that we're at a point where Luis Angel Acuna probably pound for pound is just better than him. And that's not exactly me saying anything bad about Jeff. It's me saying something very good about Acuna.
Yeah, I love that little fucker. He's such a fun little player. He does all the little things really well. He's exactly what this team needed, and he kind of was last year too down the stretch.
Spark plug.
He's a spark plug. The dude gives his team a lot of energy where Lindor is going to steal his bases. Guys are, good base runners. Juan Soto will steal a base here and there every once in a while. But the speed, the defense, and just the bat-to-ball skills, along with he's been so much more patient at the plate this year. He's getting on base. These are things that make Luis Angel Acuna, like you said, a pretty much must-play every single day player. And now, with him showing how well he played third base in that one game, granted, extremely small sample, if Jeff McNeil starts to hit a little bit, it's going to be, if Brett Baty starts to hit a little bit, it's hard to keep those guys out of the lineup over a guy like Vientos, who's struggling mightily defensively.
FT fan by now, if you're buying, selling, trading, collecting cards, Arena Club is the spot. We've been talking about them all season long, but I do want to focus on the slab pack experience, Kratz, since you've been ripping some slab packs digitally. And what happens?
I mean, as a kid, you wanted to rip open the packs. How can they do this digitally? Oh, baby. This is exciting. How the graphics come out and everything. And oh, yeah, the card that you pull, you can actually get that, John, physically. So it's perfect. It's all in one place, and it's a super exciting experience.
Yeah, they send that to you from the vault if you want it. But if you look at it and you're like, it's not the card for me, I want to sell it back, go for it. You can do any of that on Arena Club, and you can acquire the best value for your money with those slab packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use code FAL. arenaclub.com/FAL, use code FAL.
Well, because the Mets also have a golden opportunity right now where, not a golden opportunity, but you can make you can make lemonade out of lemons where Jesse Winker's hurt and that stinks.
Yes.
That really hurts this lineup's like day-to-day potential against the average right-handed pitcher. And we saw the first two games of the series against right-handed pitchers, much to both of our dismay, that Starling Marte was not only the designated hitter, but he was hitting fourth in a very prominent spot in the lineup. And his at-bat in the third inning, fourth inning, I think it was the third inning against Zach Gallen in game 2, after Juan Soto and Pete Alonso worked some tough 2-out walks to 1, load the bases, and 2, drive in a run on a walk. And then Starling Marte standing up there takes 3 consecutive pitches in the strike zone to strike out. And again, in a very prominent spot in the lineup with a platoon disadvantage as someone who cannot play defense, no longer runs well, doesn't hit for any power, doesn't draw walks. There's not really a talent that Starling Marte can bring to the table. So at this situation where we know that Mark Vientos is going through it, so we don't know what's going on in the clubhouse where if it would help him or hurt him to not be playing third base as often. But at the end of the day, because this also happened in game 2, as we kind of start to transition our conversation now, that game changed on a dime when he let that ground ball go through his legs. And somehow the home scorer didn't rule that an error.
Yeah,
that was
Keith
as
was
clear
like
as an error I've ever seen in my life.
I love seeing Keith. He's like, I don't care what they say. I'm putting that down as an error in my book. That play needs to be made. And it's true, though. And I hate to keep like beating down Marte and Vientos, but specifically with the Marte stuff, you guys have all watched it. You guys know the drill. Like, this isn't, again, anything against Starling Marte as a person, but as a baseball player, there's just no room for him on this team. He does not make this team any better. Mark Vientos still has the ability to make this team better. We know he's a great hitter. He's bad in the field. We know that. We've been saying it for the last year and a half now. He's a butcher at third base. He's a DH first baseman at the end of the day in his career. That's where he's going to be most valuable. But because of the Jesse Winker absence, like you said, and the fact that Starling Marte can't hit a lick, Mark Vientos at DH seems like the likely outcome, especially when Brett Baty has been taking better at-bats and plays so much better defense at third base. Or Luis Angel Acuna at third base, who still is going to be better than Vientos at worst, defensively, at worst.
Truthfully, and in this game, you saw a couple plays, now talking back to Wednesday, and we're jumping back and forth right now, but like there were a couple plays that Brett Baty made at third that Mark Vientos simply doesn't make. I know he did make a bit of a rough play in that backhand.
Naylor flared
that
he made. I think there's no shot Mark Vientos makes that play. I think that ball drops, and that was a huge out that Baty made look routine. And then there was the other one down the line that Baty caught deep. I don't remember who hit it, but there was one ball hit down the left field line that he kind of caught where Nimmo was in between. He wasn't going to get to it. It was going to be a tough play. I don't think Vientos gets to that ball either. I just don't.
No, and it comes back to just the main crux of this whole argument is that what's the best team we could field on a given day? And like maybe in some matchups against left-handed pitchers, against pitchers you think maybe Marte is like downward swing path to work better, maybe against like certain sinker ballers. Yeah. Sure. Maybe, again, I don't want Marte to never play. If he's going to still be on the team, you want to try and get him hot a little bit at least. But day to day, what makes this team the best they could possibly be is either the rotation of the DH spot, like they were able to do on Wednesday where Nimmo could DH, or you DH Mark Vientos, and then you have either Brett Baty or Luis Angel Acuna play second base, depending on if you're going to have Jeff McNeil in the lineup. There's no possible way that the day-to-day functionality of this team is the best it can possibly be if both Mark Vientos is playing third base and Starling Marte is designated hitter. There's no chance.
No, absolutely not. And again, you mentioned how the play kind of unraveled things for the Mets in game 2. Part of that was also that David Peterson was just kind of fine again. This is now like the third or fourth start, feels like, in a row, where Peterson's kind of going through the motions. Is not the right way to say this because that makes it seem like there's a lack of effort, and that's not what I'm trying to say. But it seems like Peterson just doesn't have that extra juice that we've seen when that guy is really on. It seems like he's just kind of out there throwing more so than pitching, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of push back against that based on the way he was early in this game. Like, I thought the first 5 innings, he was really hitting his spots and he was like finding everything. And again, this was a tiny bit of old Peterson. Again, after that Mark Vientos ball through the wickets, then he kind of unraveled, didn't really make big pitches. But I don't think he really truthfully missed many spots until that Lourdes Gurriel Jr. home run.
I mean, that
was it.
It's fair. I guess it's just that we've seen Peterson, and I don't want to use the word dominant, but we've seen Peterson feel like he's in more control, where I felt like he was able to get like outs, but he wasn't like a dominant version of himself. I didn't feel like how many swings and misses did he have? Did he have a lot?
It was a good
felt
few.
like
it was
it
13.
wasn't that much. Okay, I guess it was just more than I thought.
And it was a lot on that fastball, but again, I think he did wind up flying a little close to the sun with that fastball because that was the pitch that Gurriel hit out. Because while he was really good at keeping that fastball around the leathers, which with Peterson's extension, like that's where he likes to be with that fastball, especially against right-handed batters, where he throws that fastball much more often. That one just sunk down to the belt, and Lourdes Gurriel, it was on a tee. It was very easy to hit out. And this was also like, again, keep saying it, 26 games, 27 days. This Mets bullpen is not in great shape right now. And it was really dead by the time this game was going because of how many guys had to use the day before and through the weekend, the doubleheader against the Cardinals. So him going 104 pitches, like that's a really good game for Dave Peterson.
Yes.
I mean, it does suck that 2 of the 4 walks happened that last inning. The home run happens that last inning. If you were not in this long stretch and you take Peterson out with maybe 89 pitches, similar to Kodai Senga, an inning early rather than
Probably do
late,
feel different, yeah.
if he has a 5-inning, 5 strikeout, 2 walk, 2-run game, and really the 2 runs should have been unearned, you're like, that's actually a pretty good start. And great note from Gary and Keith in this broadcast. Peterson against Zach Allen in that game on Tuesday.
Yes.
The 3rd time all season so far, which, I mean, the game is gone. We know the game is gone. That the 2 pitchers each reached 100 pitches. And the craziest part about that, all 3 of those games included Zach Allen. So in terms of workhorses in the league, and I know Gallen's kind of a funny-looking dude, a funny hair, and he's not that big, but he has become like one of the premier workhorses in baseball. But I don't think he gets that respect. But again, at that moment, and I think Carlos Mendoza kind of made the decision in his head, not exactly made the decision, but he said, like, I know that these guys are going to get another look at Peterson, and I know that Gurriel had really good looks against him earlier in this game. But I need this inning more than I can't have any more runs on the board. Again, that's kind of, to me, is more of a function of the schedule. And in that game on Wednesday, a function of the Mets just not hitting at all, which is fine.
No, they didn't hit at all.
That's how that works.
It's going to happen. And again,
it's hard to hit when Starling Marte
too. Yeah.
It's hard to hit when Starling Marte is hitting 4th. When you get a couple key at bats in the game, and Starling Marte is one of them, and he looks at 3 pitches in the strike zone. It's not you might not get that many more chances against a guy like Zach Allen, who's just like a clear, still top 10, top 15 pitcher in the National League.
Must be such a great clubhouse guy. I can't.
He's definitely a great clubhouse guy. Do you see the way everyone acts with him in the middle of the games?
I know, but I just like from a baseball player's standpoint, and the fact that we are paying him $20 million, just like like this is. Nah, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Don't say. But I did wish in that game on Tuesday night, it did feel like the baseball gods were shifting in our favor, specifically in the 9th inning, because Josh Naylor made, in a series where Josh Naylor did a couple stupid things.
A lot.
Brandon Nimmo hit a dribbler with 2 men on in the 9th inning, and the Mets down by 4 and 1 man out. For some reason, with Brandon Nimmo directly standing in front of him, basically conceding to himself to be called out.
4 runs. It would have been the second out of the inning.
Second out in the 9th inning, not just the inning, the 9th inning, with 1 out to go, 26 out of the game. Josh Naylor lets the ball roll foul. And I think that the reaction specifically from Keith Hernandez would have been like,
funny.
if like, it was probably very similar to like when some tragedy happens in his life. The way that he responded to a first baseman making a fundamental miscue, it sounded like something horrible had happened to him specifically. He was so offended by Josh Naylor's bad play. And then he hits a sinking liner that Geraldo Perdomo, 1-time All-Star, prolific bunter on Wednesday afternoon, just reaches up a little bit and takes a little bunny hop, gets the out, and that winds up being the game when you could have kind of tying run to the plate with 2 guys in scoring position.
Yeah, no, that was Josh Naylor had a just bizarre series. Outside of hitting, everything else, he just was making every wrong decision.
Totally. Another fun part of this series was the fact that we always talk about the wackiness that happens when we get the Gary Keith series when Ronnie's not there to kind of like babysit and keep the conversations back on baseball. They were doing crazy crowd work. SNY was showing off mustaches, they were like rating guys' mustaches. It was just such funny, wacky late night games when those 2 guys are on the call together.
Gary was Keith called him Gary at one point. He's like, Gary. He's like, did you just call me Gary? He's like, I don't think you've done that in 10 years. And he's like, oh yeah, I do call you Gary all the time. He's like, don't do that. I don't like it.
Also, such a funny, I didn't know this. I didn't know Keith's brother was named Gary. And that's why he calls Gary Gary, because he calls his brother Gary. They said that after.
I got to close my window. Keep talking. Now, all of a sudden, I decided to do a Windows Open episode. It's always quiet in Astoria. They're like, what if we have construction going on at 7 o'clock at night?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't hear anything. But I do want to talk about Game 1 a little bit because I think Game 1 was kind of the dig deep game in this series because we talked about last episode. The Mets kind of got screwed by the doubleheader in St. Louis. Not their fault. You can't blame the rain on it. But getting into Arizona 1 o'clock in the morning without an off day, waking up and having to play a game on the road against a good team off a doubleheader with not much bullpen available. And giving up a leadoff home run in that game specifically, just a really, really nice, again, dig deep game where you take an early lead and like you almost gave it back, but you did actually never gave it back. And you kind of squeezed it tight and got the win you needed.
Yeah, Griffin Canning was a dog again.
Awesome.
I
That's
mean,
awesome.
he's just pitching really, really well. I don't know how sustainable it is. Maybe you can tell me how sustainable it is, but like every time out there, I'm waiting for it and it's not happening.
Well, I think we saw something in this game specifically that can make it more sustainable for Canning. One, it's just similar to what I talked about with Kodai, the adjustability. It seems like this Mets pitching staff, whether this is Hefner in their ears in the dugout between innings or just their own pitchability themselves, they have ways to correct things that are wrong. So when Corbin Carroll hit that leadoff home run, I know a lot of you guys missed this because you were enthralled by the Knicks, as Mark and I were too,
What a
having
game.
one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen a basketball team have, honestly. And we're 10 minutes into game 2 right now, so hopefully the Knicks aren't down by 50 yet. But so he gives we're down by 20 already.
It's there's 7 minutes left in the first quarter. The Knicks have not scored a point.
Wait, you're joking?
I'm not even kidding. There's 7 minutes left in the first. It is 7-0. So it's a bad game. It's a horrible, horrible game right now.
That's fun. All right, great. I mean, God, how's that happening right now? But Griffin Canning throws a fastball to Corbin Carroll first pitch of the game. He misses with it. He tries to come inside the second pitch. Corbin Carroll, another 0-1 fastball. Corbin Carroll laces it, rips it for a home run. He did not throw another fastball when he was behind in the count to a left-hand batter the rest of the game. So that to me is just like Griffin Canning was like, all right, got it. I know what they're doing now. I'm not letting anyone burn that on me again. He winds up like pushing that fastball, especially to righties as a finishing pitch, which I love how Canning's done that this year when he's able to still find that like 95-ish mile an hour velocity, which is good enough to sneak by guys, even with the bad shape his has, and just going slider, changeup, heavy on top of each other over and over again. It's not exactly a recipe for a guy that's going to throw you 200 innings, but for Griffin Canning repeatedly being a 5 and dive, and in this game, bringing back his knuckle curve, showing that as another wrinkle he could use against the lefties. Because again, after those first 2 fastballs, he threw the Corbin Carroll to start the game. He threw 6 total fastballs to left-handed batters the rest of the game. After the first 2, he's like, not doing that anymore. So breaking off a couple curveballs to them, showing a wrinkle, pitch he hasn't put on video in the scouting reports much this season. Just really nice. Just it's a good sensibility on the mound by Griffin Canning.
Shout out Pete and Lindor. Pete hit a mammoth home run. That ball was absolutely shit on. Keith was like, whoa. He was like, wow. Really got all that one. That was nice. He's just, even like, I think he struck out a couple times in the series looking and they were balls. It's like I don't remember a time where Pete's ever been locked in like this. The fact that like Pete, we know has always been obsessed with hitting for a high average for some reason. And it's really cool now that he's doing the thing where we're like, just hit strikes, lock in at the plate, stop chasing, and you will hit home runs and you will hit for a high average. And that's what he's doing. He's been one of the best players in Major League Baseball this year. Lindor continuing to stay hot. And then before we start to talk about some of the weird, like negative stuff that happened in this game, because there's definitely one thing we have to talk about for sure. Yeah. That fucking Alvarez Lindor caught stealing was so sick.
It was, I put out some bait on Twitter trying to get some Cubs fans to be mad because we knew we were putting out the Pete Crow-Armstrong clip this week as well. But I was like, best tag you're ever going to see in your life, Francisco Lindor, right here. And Cubs fans were like, Javi made that tag 10 times a week. But the fact that he had to dive over Alek Thomas, because we know when Edwin Diaz lets a base runner on him. But if I remember correct, didn't he hit Alek Thomas early in that bat?
Don't remember
either. I know
honestly,
it was on first base and it wasn't a hit.
I was so stressed out. It had been like 6 straight hours of being stressed. I was exhausted.
But that, like, for Francisco Alvarez won, I think also this was a Sarah Lang, that it was his best pop time in any individual stolen base attempt in his career, like one of the 3 fastest. But it still wasn't a great throw because I think he was so obsessed with getting out of the chute because Alek Thomas is a really good runner. Good ball player, Alek Thomas. You see my vision now with Alek Thomas after the series?
Whatever. I don't care.
He's a good ball player. But for him to literally dive over Alek Thomas's body while keeping his glove and his head down to pick the ball off the dirt, and then in that one exact motion, grazing Alek Thomas's like foot or thigh or whatever it was to get him a microsecond before he actually got his hand on the base. On a play where if that ball gets into past Lindor into center field, Alek Thomas is on third base, and the Mets guaranteed that to go to extra innings. The game they were winning big just a few moments before. It was in terms of importance in the moment, the fact that how little this Mets team had left in the tank and how badly they need to get out of this game with a win, just top to bottom, such an incredible play.
Yes, and the reason that game was ever close was because with a 4-run lead, Dedniel Nuñez makes his season debut. And did they send him back down? Because I feel like they should. He looks not ready, and he looked fat.
Yeah, I hate to say that about a player, but he did look like put on a couple extra pounds after the way he looked last year. And Keith, at the beginning of the inning, was giving Dedniel praise for what he called a strong lower half. And there was a moment where SNY, I don't know if you caught this, they like zoomed in on his like thighs, like his haunches, and I was like, this is crazy what's going on right now, because right after that it was walk, and then Reed Garrett comes in, he cleaned up the mess best he could, But Eugenio Suarez hit the longest single in baseball. Shout out Josh Naylor for not running and thinking the ball was a home run, just getting trapped at second base and leaving Eugenio Suarez at first base on a ball that was hit 420 feet that saved the Mets in this game. But disappointing from Dedniel Nuñez. I do not think he was sent down, though, if I have to be honest with you.
I think just because of all the injuries and stuff, they kind of can't. And with the option stuff going on, but also at the same time, I did not like what I saw. That looked like someone who, and again, we'd been wondering why the Mets had him in AAA so long when he was like ready to go. No, he's not ready. It doesn't seem like he's someone who you can trust at this exact moment. Seems like he still might have to pitch himself into shape a little bit here.
And at AAA, and we chose to ignore it because, again, we tried to be positive, especially with a guy like
we didn't see
Dedniel.
videos of him. Yeah,
especially a guy like Dedniel, who was like literally one of the best relievers in baseball last year. Like I think you put him in your top 30 relief pitchers. I think I vouch for it because, again, what he did last year with the pitch mix it looked like someone who was just a guy moving forward. The command numbers were bad. And we chalked it up to, ABS, bunch of nonsense, like pitching yourself into shape. Then he comes to major leagues and he literally cannot spot a single slider. And that slider was such a devastating pitch for him last year. So it's kind of like, all right, we need to fix something now. But he was not sent down, still on the team.
Weird shout out here, but I'm going to shout out Mendoza. As soon as the 3-batter minimum was done, he was like, got it. Get him out of the game.
Yes,
which I like to see.
Definitely. Mendoza definitely does still have some moments where the bullpen usage isn't the cleanness, especially the fact that I do think he gets still a little bit touchy of when to bring in Edwin Diaz, when not to bring him in. Like this game on Wednesday, I definitely would have just brought in Edwin Diaz for an inning. Yeah. I mean, he had him and Stanek warming up. I know the Mets did stretch it out to wind up being a pretty solid lead, but he just barely pitched. You got 26 games, 27 days. Edwin Diaz made 5 appearances the whole time.
You could find out when did the game start. That would have
been the A's series.
So that was the 11th. I'll find out for you how many times since April 11th Edwin Diaz has pitched.
Yeah, just since Sacramento. But it's just when you're all hands on deck like this, and he is pound for pound your best reliever still, you gotta just find more ways to get him into these games. I think that's the one qualm I have with Mendoza.
He's pitched 8 times in that stretch, and
that's more than I thought.
He pitched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a week. From the 16th to the 23rd, he pitched 5 times.
Yeah. So again, this is also the situation where we say all the time, maybe they know more than we do. And Edwin's like, I'm just a little fatigued right now. Can't do it. But he does warm up all the time and still not come in to pitch, which is part of it I don't understand. Also, last shout out for this game, I think the end of the series, Tyrone Taylor did have another good series, still playing great center field, putting the ball in play a lot more.
Which is
great to us. Big jinx. That's kind of the thing with him. And also the Mets had a couple of triples in this series. They now lead the league with 10 triples.
It's crazy because I would not say the Mets are one of the most athletic teams in baseball by any means, especially because Arizona, that place like triples like crazy. You get mad triples there, and the Diamondbacks usually have a ton. I don't know how the Mets have so many, and I think Pete has 2. Is that right?
I think Pete does have 2. Last year, the entire season, the Mets only hit 15 triples the whole year. They already have 10 this season. The Mets' 15 triples last year ranked as 3rd fewest in all of baseball, only more than the Mariners and the White Sox.
Now, we're definitely due for a cold streak with triples, just saying out loud.
Yeah, we might not hit a triple until June, but nice to see the triples. Also, Jeff Bannister, I think he's either the pitching coach or the bench coach in this Arizona team. Keith Ratt and Pat McCarthy, I switched to the radio mid-game on Wednesday, so I don't want to take too much of the credit, but the game was 0-0 when I switched to the radio, and the Mets wound up winning easy. They were just dropping nuggets left and right. They had a crazy story ready to go about Jeff Bannister, that when he was playing in college in the 80s, he had a play at the plate where he busted a couple vertebrae in his back or neck or something. Went to the hospital. Doctors were like, you're probably never going to walk again. Had a period of being paralyzed before he actually got himself to the major leagues eventually. During his time in the hospital, Pat said, he lost almost 100 pounds. They said he went into the hospital weighing 210, 215, left the hospital weighing about 140.
Holy shit.
In college, and he still made it to the major leagues.
That's unbelievable.
And that's the 80s. That's not medicine like we have today. If they tell you're going to be paralyzed in the 80s, good chance you were actually going to be paralyzed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a great little nugget they had there.
I had something. I saw, maybe this is like a half media marvel. I don't think we have any real ones. Positive episode. We're feeling good. But I saw that John Kruk was doing the game with the Phillies game with Pat McCarthy's dad, Tom McCarthy. And I guess Pat sent his dad a picture of what he was eating in St. Louis as look how awesome this food is. And Tom McCarthy brought it up, and John Kruk's like, he's like a Mets guy. I don't give a fuck what he's eating. Like, I hope he chokes.
Hope he chokes. Yeah. He said, I hope he chokes, but I hope it's just a little bit. I don't want anything bad to happen to him. Just hope he chokes a little.
No, that's kind of awesome. I kind of love that.
Well, John Kruk's a legend. He's Philadelphia Keith Hernandez. But there were some light media marvels, but I don't think it's the episode of Doom because again we're feeling good. We want to relish in the off day. We don't want to really take shots at anybody. No. Jason Worth is due his media marvel, and he will get his day. Also,
He will
KMP.
get his day. It's crazy.
KMP, literally, I think it was last night or today on the radio, was talking about how bad Juan Soto is. The fact that it looks like he's just not enjoying himself and not coming through for the Mets. So
I was like, who the fuck is KMP? But yeah, now I understand.
He doesn't get his name on this podcast. But then the fact that the next day hits 2 home runs, I really hope that these, for lack of a better term, idiots that continue to run their mouth about Juan Soto. There's nothing else that can make me happier.
950 OPS over the last 19 games. He sucks. Oh my God. You know what? He's terrible. Juan Soto stinks. 950 OPS. Can't wait to see what happens when he plays well.
No, and a couple other housekeeping things to talk about. We know the Mets are seeking a left-handed reliever with AJ Minter and Danny Young, both out for the season. They signed Colin Poche to a minor league deal. He was getting lit up on the Nationals, as the rest of the pitchers in that bullpen have been. So maybe we could get a little pitching lab, a little Jeremy Huffner, a little magic fairy dust to get him in there. And then if you guys listen to the prospect report that came out yesterday, if you guys haven't, listen up. 45 minutes of dense Mets prospect knowledge from me and Mark. We talked about a new breakout prospect for the Mets in Syracuse, Felipe De La Cruz. We talked about the fact that we assume that the Mets are going to keep working him out as a starter, and that he's probably not going to get a look in the bullpen this year. Pitch in relief the next day. Threw an inning in 2/3, fastballs up to 98 miles an hour from the left side. So, and we got kind of nice. We got a good note from Matt Eddy that he is due to be to go on the 40-man roster this season anyway, or else he'll be eligible in the Rule 5 draft next year. So, good chance we do see him as a reliever possibly this season. I think there actually is a growing chance of that.
And we also have some Brett Beatty option news as well.
Good note from Matt.
Yeah, which is good. Tell the people at home exactly what happened.
You forget?
Forgot. I just know. Is there something where because Winker got hurt and he got called up, technically the Mets don't use the option, or no? That's not it?
So what it is, this comes from Matt, because Matt Eddy, again, editor-in-chief Baseball America, just an absolute savant when it comes to prospect and minor league knowledge. I'm going to read the word for it in the DM right now. By calling up Beatty, the Mets could be taking a step toward preserving his option for 2025, something we've talked to you guys a lot about this year. Brett Beatty has 1 option year left, which options changed a few years ago where players used to have literally options, amount of times they can go up and down to the minor leagues. But now you have option years. Players have 3 option years, which means that inside of 1 year, you use 1 option, you go up and down 5 total times. So that's what it is. So when the Mets put Beatty down a couple weeks ago, we kind of lamented the fact that, oh no, he might be losing his option. But Matt Eddy, again, sends us his DM. By calling up Beatty, the Mets could be taking a step toward preserving his option for 2025. Any optional assignment totaling fewer than 20 days is converted to MLB service time. Beatty went down April 24th, so he hasn't yet spent 20 days with Syracuse. So if the Mets keep Beatty on the active roster or do not option him for more than 20 days, then his option year remains intact. That has huge implications on his 2026 value and trade value, which is true.
Were they able to then bring him up as quickly as they were after they optioned him because of the injury? Because I know that's usually what happens with like calling up and send downs. You can't call up a guy after sending him down after a certain amount of days. It's
10 days. So I don't know if it was because of that, but the window is still open. So Major League Baseball still is allowing 10 days of service time in between when you can be re-optioned, where you can maintain that option as long as he doesn't go down. And again, so the way he plays defense, if he can be a league average hitter,
95 OPS plus
for a month, then that's a guy who is good. Is like basically becomes too good to option. I know he did too good for Budo a few weeks ago. You guys got pissed at us for
so mad.
Budo being too good to cut, but
and he's looked pretty good, by the way.
It looked good enough. Again, still a couple batted balls in that game on Tuesday night, but it was fine. Tyrone Taylor booed that ball in the outfield. It's so important for Beatty's future value to keep that option, maintain that option. Same with Acuna, who is definitely way too good to be sent down.
No, he's not going anywhere.
What do you guys think now about him being bored in spring training in Syracuse? You guys think that might have been true? Seems like it might have been true.
Oh yeah, we caught so much shit for saying I don't give a fuck about him giving a shit about spring training. Like, if he doesn't care, he doesn't want to be here. It's like, guys, these games do not matter. What if I made you work hey, guess what? Nothing's going to count towards whether you get a promotion or not, but work as hard as you can in something that no one's watching, doesn't count. No one cares what you do.
And you make no money, and you already proved yourself at the major league level. So again, it's just funny how. Again, I don't think that works for everybody. I think
no.
Yeah, definitely, we're not giving everybody a pass for playing bad in the minor leagues. But a guy like Acuna, who kind of openly said it, coming from a guy like through verbiage from Lindor, who also openly said that about himself
years ago,
way long ago, right before the Guardians and the Indians then won the World Series. Like, it's important. So he's just, again, these guys are too good. It's important how the Mets are managing this roster, and the depth of this team is really shining through in this early part of the season. We just went through a hell part of our schedule.
Yeah, before we go to the Cubs preview here, I was talking to my dad on the phone. We were just mentioning about the relievers coming up and down, and I was like, oh, David Stearns is like, this is my dream. I love being able to manipulate the roster. Got 2 innings out of Genesis Cabrera. He only gave up 1 hit.
Get out of here.
the fuck out of here. Get out of here. I can't wait to use you again in a week.
See you in a week and a half, Hennessy's. But again, that's the whole thing. And that's why I really accentuate the glob of chaos talk in the offseason, because there's like these 8 guys who are down there in the minor leagues. We're just going to see, and they're going to go away. And they're going to go back, and they're going to go away again unless someone proves themselves to stay in. So it's nice that this depth, both in the lineup and in the bullpen, is really shining through in a beautiful way.
Let's go ahead and do that Cubs preview here. We're about 40 minutes in. Cubs are one of the best teams in baseball.
Wow.
The hitting is unbelievable. The pitching is a little all over the place. That
Not
is
good.
definitely their weak spot, but their offense is maybe one of the best in all of Major League Baseball, especially right now. What are the pitching matchups? I believe I saw Jameson Taillon on there, which I don't love because he fucking owns us.
I think you're gonna wind up liking these pitching matchups. So
Okay.
Friday night game at Citi Field, back home for a Friday night. Bit of an ace-off. Clay Holmes versus Jameson Taillon.
And Clay Holmes, hockey sweater jersey night.
Yes.
That's big because usually
Awesome.
like when a guy gets a bobblehead, he hits a home run. Clay Holmes gets a hockey jersey, maybe a perfect game.
And that was the City Connect hockey jersey as well. The whole league is also copying the Mets hockey jersey thing. I'm pretty sure that the Yankees and the Orioles are both doing it this year, among other teams, I'm sure, who I'm not as keyed into their games on a nightly basis. But Saturday, this is the one you're really going to love. Saturday night game, 7:15. So we have the 7:10 Friday, 7:15 Saturday. Very rare back-to-back games, 5-minute different start time. And then before I do the pitching matchup, a 12:05 Mother's Day matinee on Roku on Sunday. So if you guys need some illegal streaming help, definitely hit the DMs on that one. But it's going to be a strange series to watch. But that Saturday night game is going to be Tyler McGill versus right now an empty spot for the Cubs, but the expectation, based on what manager Craig Counsell has said, the highest paid manager in baseball, is that is going to be Chris Flexen being stretched out to pitch into the field against the Mets. Chris Flexen, old friend. I'm going to leave it at that. And then again, Sunday, the Mother's Day matinee, noon start. Make sure you guys are ready for Mother's Day. You have a few days right now to get your gifts. Mine's already done, all ready to go.
Me too.
Yes, nice job. So again, Mother's Day, make sure you and Ma sit in front of the television. 12 o'clock Mets start. Maybe give her a little breakfast, a little OJ, a little avocado toast. Griffin Canning versus Matthew Boyd, a change-up off.
Oh, man.
That's
Matt Boyd's your
a
guy.
good one. I love Matt. Matt Boyd's been amazing this year. Have you seen
been
Matt
really
Boyd this
good.
season?
No, he's
nice.
I just dropped something.
He's pitching kind of like similar. Again, this is funny because these two guys, Matthew Boyd and Griffin Canning, were kind of in that. Boyd was definitely a tier ahead of Griffin Canning heading into the offseason, and like definitely is making a little bit more money. I think Matthew Boyd's like a 2 for 15, a 2 for 20 about contract. Find me that, where Griffin Canning's got like what?
2 for 29.
Okay, actually, it's significantly more than I thought. But he was pretty good at the end of last season for the Guardians. But Matthew Boyd's pitching great. The ERA is going to regress because he has a 1.4 whip and a 2.75 ERA, but he's striking guys out. He's not walking anybody. Hard to square him up. The changeup is change-upping. He's got the slider going. Like, Matthew Boyd's been a good pitcher. And same with Taillon, just junking his way through another solid season. I love James Taillon is one of my favorite players in baseball because not only did the guy come back after 2 Tommy John surgeries, which is hard enough on its own, he also beat cancer when he was in the minor leagues with the Pirates. I know at least once. I can't vouch for twice, but as a high-profile pick, top pick Jameson Taillon, arm surgery, cancer, arm surgery, still a highly functional major league pitcher, and that guy's a beast for that.
Yes, their bullpen is rough. Ryan Presley just got absolutely destroyed by the Giants the other day. Porter Hodge, dog.
Nasty.
Big Porter Hodge fan. The guy just got electric stuff. And Daniel Palencia also throws about 102 miles an hour. The rest of them got to jump all over Julian Merriweather, Brad Keller, Nate Pearson if he gets in the game, Ethan Roberts, Eli Morgan. You got to jump over all over these guys.
I mean, Julian Merriweather still sits about 97, so he's not still the easiest at bat in the world, but he's definitely not good. For you guys that play rotisserie baseball, had Ryan Presley in the lineup, I dropped 9 points in the standings in one day. I went from a 91 to an 82 just from the Ryan Presley outing. Same day my team wound up going like 3 for 35 or some shit like that. I literally looked at the standings and it just destroyed my mood for the entire night.
Fell to your knees.
I have too many fantasy teams where I kind of forgot that I had Ryan Presley in this like saves and holds league where I was like, if it was just a saves league, I would have dropped him by now because I don't believe he's going to be the closer much longer. But I was like, let me try and sneak some couple more saves and holds out of Ryan Presley. Man, that guy is fried like an egg.
Now, offensively, this team is unbelievable. There's basically nobody not hitting in this lineup. Everybody's a good hitter right now. Even Dansby Swanson's hitting pretty well for some power. Carson Kelly and Miguel Amaya have been probably the best offensive catching duo in baseball. Cal Raleigh's been like the best hitter, but for a singular catcher. But between Miguel Amaya and Carson Kelly, there's like 11 homers and 39 RBIs, I think, with an OPS around 1,000. Like, it's unbelievable how well these guys are hitting. Michael Busch is mashing. Ian Happ's always a really good hitter. Kyle Tucker's proving that he's one of the best players in Major League Baseball. What an absolute steal that was for the Cubs to get that guy for Cam Smith and Hayden Wesneski. We're both good players, but Kyle Tucker's, top 10 in the league, arguably.
You forgot Isaac Paredes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They gave up Isaac Perez, too. Whatever. Still an unbelievable trade for the Cubs. You make that trade 100 times. Isaac Perez had zero value in Wrigley Field. Now, Pete Crow-Armstrong's pretty good. Suzuki's really good. Like, everybody
awesome
on this offense is good. And pretty much all these hitters, like, it's sticky. These aren't, like, fluke good hitters.
No, some guys it's fluky for how good they have been. Like a guy like Michael Busch will regress back, but he's still a really good player. He's kind of one of those guys who got squeezed out of LA because they have so many talented players there in the Dodger system. Of the 9 hitters in their everyday lineup, 7 of the 9 have a WRC plus over 100. The other one of those guys is Nico Horner, who's like kind of having a slow start to the year, didn't have much of a spring training, was nicked up a little bit. And the other guy who's playing every single day, Mets fans are going to hate to hear this, it's John fucking Berthe. We're going to get John Berthe back. And somehow, in some ways, this guy will not die, and he's just going to get in the base paths. He's going to be a pest. He's going to make great plays at third base. Like, he's going to just be John Berthe. But I do think that a lot of the media coverage in this game, especially with 2 national television games this series, will be centered around Pete Crow-Armstrong and the fact that he was that blue-haired kid. Who called him the blue-haired kid again?
Pat Murphy.
Pat Murphy called him the blue-haired kid.
And Kyle Tucker's to do with big feet.
Yeah, so I love Pat Murphy, baseball man. But Pete Crow-Armstrong's been incredible this year. I think we had a conversation. I don't remember if it was on Playback or on this podcast that people were clowning Pete Crow. Maybe I was doing it on the Roto World show. I don't remember. But people were clowning Pete Crow for turning down like the 7-year, $75 million extension.
Wasn't with me.
And I was like, fuck yeah, how could he ever accept that extension? Like, the worst case scenario, the guy's Harrison Bader, makes $10 million a year in his sleep, but he can't hit a lick.
No, we did talk about that. Yes.
Yeah, because Pete Crow has made some major adjustments between last year to this year with his swing. He's given himself, which is weird, an added leg kick, which usually that doesn't help guys swing and miss. But him, I think it's calmed him down. He keeps the bat a little bit more upright now. He's really widened his feet in the box, moved back a little bit, and it's increased his contact rate to the point, because his natural tools are so loud themselves, where he looks like a perennial all-star, someone who's going to be like a 5-6 win player every single year.
And he plays the best defense in center field in Major League Baseball, and maybe has the best arm in Major League Baseball as well for outfielders.
He's just top to bottom. The guy is a freak of nature. He's got 9 homers and 12 steals. It's May 8th. Like, he's so damn good. It sucks that he could have been on this team. You guys heard this Zach Scott interview? We didn't really shy away from asking him what the thought process was in that trade. We just put the clip on Twitter and TikTok this week because we're playing the Cubs. That's going to be a hot piece of news. Still can't figure that one out. I understand wanting to make a playoff push when you have a team in first place, but trading your most recent first-round pick, who the floor, again, is Harrison Bader, who's a guy that he will make $10 million every single year, being slightly above replacement level. It's just it seemed like such a loss in the moment.
It was the Trevor Williams trade.
It was Trevor Williams trade. So we got Trevor Williams. Got fully Trevor
just
Williams.
Like the Yankees trade for Trent Grisham. Like that's what that was.
But again, like this Cubs team, basically 9 guys. It's a tough out every single spot you go to. So it's going to be a huge battle for this Mets pitching staff. The off day is going to help. Again, I'm really excited to see Clay Holmes and Tyler McGill against this team because they're 2 guys who have shown a lot this year. I'm just looking at these Cub stats.
It's unbelievable. Every single one of them is just absolutely mashing.
Carson Kelly has a 22% walk rate and a 10% strikeout rate.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
That was
Carson Kelly.
Possible?
Paul Goldschmidt trade back in the day.
Diamondbacks, yeah.
He was the piece, one of the pieces.
Not wrong, just early. But I think that's all we got for the series. Again, just these teams hits the shit out of the ball, and the Cubs play a lot of chaos games. So I'm gonna predict at least one chaos game in the series where we see like 18 total runs. And it's like back and forth in late innings.
Let's go ahead and read a review or two here. I'm gonna look it up. Do we have Frankie Peppers while I look up some reviews?
No, Frankie. Right after the pod. You know.
Yeah, it's all good. Let's go ahead and see if we've got some reviews here to shout out the people. Yeah, we got a few. We've got a few of these. Like to see it. Gavin is back again. Gavin loves a good review. I guess I'll read out one of his. Let's go ahead. Start it off with Dom the Donkey on April 7th, 2025. It's been a minute since we've read these out. You guys are the best Mets podcast around. You give honest opinions, are funny, and I look forward to watching your podcast every day. Also, Mark, I've been watching your channel since the Yankees lose 2018 when I discovered you and James. I've started watching you and your fantasy baseball videos. Shout out Dom the Donkey. Appreciate supporting not just the Mets podcast, but both the boys' YouTube channels.
Yeah, right. Thank you for that one, Dom. And I got one here from Ant G1026. Anthony from LIC, easily the best man. I love like doing it like a radio call. Yeah. We love that. Anthony calling in from LIC, easily the best podcast. My go-to morning listen. Got some good stats here too. At the time, April 16th, Soto was currently seeing 16% of pitches in the zone. This may have changed with the Twin Series. It's time to push Soto and Alonso up one lineup spot and bring Nimmo to the 2-hole. Allow Nimmo to work out to utilize on-base skills, and again, force pitchers throw in the zone pitches to Soto due to the men being on base at a higher rate. I really just think there should be no shakeups to this lineup.
No.
I think every single day,
especially not the top 3.
It's no matter what happens. I know I'll even do the top 4. I hardcore vouch for Nimmo at 4. I don't know if there's another guy in this lineup who has the skills and potential to do what Nimmo can do in that 4 spot, especially with the on base plus the power. Like I think it should be those guys 1, 2, 3, 4 every single day. The rest, I don't know what's going to happen. Truthfully, a lot could happen the next couple weeks, but I think that's where I'm at, holding pat with the top 4 of this lineup.
And last one here from Gavin, Mets'd boys. He says, "Good evening, guys. It's a little off topic now because this happened on Sunday." Gavin here, and man, this was a tough series for the boys talking about in St. Louis. Bats were good for the most part. McGreevy, man, was carving the Mets up. Great play by Arenado earlier. Blade's not ready yet. Head-scratching move there. The injury bug is starting to bite the Mets. Let's go beat up the Diamondbacks. LGM. He's right.
Let's go, Gavin.
Called it. That a boy, Gavin. I like it. Ending it with a positive.
Knicks have pulled it to 26-21, second quarter.
I mean, this is the weird basketball. All right, let's wrap this up so we can go watch that game, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the Mets'd podcast so you can see the video version of this. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on all his socials at
James Schiano.
And I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening and watching. We will catch you all after the Cubs series. Let's fucking go Mets.